You operate on the assumption that likability is the currency of influence. You soften your emails. You ask for input when you already know the decision. You leave your office door open, hoping that if people feel warm towards you, they will comply when the pressure hits. You think likability deposits coins into a bank of authority that you can cash in later. You are operating on a fundamental misconception. The exact opposite is happening. Your pursuit of likability is actively dismantling your structural leverage. The human brain categorizes social interactions into two distinct hierarchies: affiliation and dominance. Affiliation is peer-to-peer. It relies on reciprocity, equality, and mutual accommodation. Dominance, or authority, relies on asymmetry. It requires a clear delineation of who controls the resources, the timeline, and the consequences. When you try to lead through affiliation, you signal to the group that you are a peer. So, why does the team ignore your deadlines, even though they bought you a cake on your birthday? Why do they feel comfortable questioning your strategic pivots while blindly following the directives of the stoic? Demanding executive 2 floors up, because authority requires friction, and likability requires the removal of friction. Let's look at the mechanics of a physical boundary. Think about a heavy, solid oak door with a deadbolt. When that door is closed, it commands a specific behavior. You have to physically knock. You have to stand there and wait for permission to enter. You have to quickly and concisely state your business once the door opens. The door itself creates friction, which establishes the rules of engagement before a single word is spoken. Now, replace that oak door with a plastic bead curtain. You can walk right through it. It accommodates your movement. It moves out of your way and makes a pleasant sound as you disrupt it. A bead curtain cannot command respect. When you prioritize being liked, you become the bead curtain. You constantly shift your physical and operational boundaries to accommodate the comfort of others. Employees in a division, contractors on a job site, or vendors in a supply chain do not respect leaders who bend to their comfort. They actually know, on a primitive level, that a leader who cannot withstand the minor discomfort of social friction will not be able to protect the group when real danger arrives. When you backtrack on a deadline because an employee complains they are stressed, you think you are showing empathy. The employee's conscious brain says, "Thank you." But their subconscious brain registers something entirely different. It registers weakness. It registers that your rules are negotiable. So how do you construct actual authority without becoming a tyrant? You have to understand the difference between being respected and being liked. Respect is born from predictability and consequence. Likability is born from appeasement. Let's go back to the oak door. Consider how you handle an infraction. An employee delivers a project 3 days late and substandard. The likable leader sits them down, softens their voice, and asks if everything is okay. They mention the project was a bit late and ask the employee to try and hit the mark next time. The leader feels good. The conflict was avoided. The employee leaves feeling unthreatened. But what actually happened? The system was tested, the boundary collapsed, and the precedent of 0 consequences was established. Why did the leader soften the blow? Because the leader was afraid of the employee's negative emotion. The leader placed their own need to avoid social discomfort above the structural integrity of the organization. True authority operates entirely differently. True authority states the observation without the emotional padding. The authoritative leader says the project was due Tuesday. It is Friday, and the quality is below standard. They state they need to dissect why the system failed and ensure it does not happen again. There is no anger. There is no coddling. There is only the objective reality of the boundary. The friction in that room is palpable. The employee feels uncomfortable. That discomfort is the exact mechanism that prevents the behavior from happening again. Leverage in any organization comes from the control of resources, the allocation of attention, and the enforcement of standards. When you are highly accessible, your attention has no value. When your standards are flexible, your approval has no value. This introduces the concept of structural distance. You cannot be in the trenches with the troops and command the army at the same time. The psychological space required for authority to take root demands a degree of separation. If they know everything about you, your personal life, your doubts, your insecurities, you have erased the distance. The mystery of authority is a functional tool. You must maintain a perimeter around your operational core. Let's examine a macro strategy playing out in a standard corporate boardroom. The company is cutting remote work days from 3 to 1. The likable leader walks into the room, apologetic. They tell the team that management is coming down hard, that they tried to fight it, but their hands are tied. They ask the team to just bear with them. What did the leader just do? They aligned themselves with the subordinates against the system. They abdicated their authority. They sought validation and sympathy. The room instantly loses respect for them because they revealed they have no actual power. Now, look at the authoritative leader introducing the exact same policy. They state that starting Monday, the team is shifting to 1 remote day per week to accelerate the integration of the new software rollout. They expect everyone's schedules to be updated by Friday. The room gets tense. Someone complains. How does the authoritative leader handle it? They do not apologize. They do not They hold the silence. The silence is the friction. The silence is the oak door. The complaint hits the silence and dies because there is nothing to grip onto. There is no negotiation happening. Let's analyze the microarchitecture of your communication, because this is where the leverage bleeds out daily. The way you write emails, the way you issue directives, the specific syntax you use. Likability is hidden in modifiers. Phrases like, just checking in, I feel like, maybe we should, if you have time, or I was wondering if. Every single one of those phrases is a micro-abdication of authority. You are handing the leverage over to the recipient. You are giving them the psychological option to dismiss you. Authority uses declarative sentences. Provide an update on the status by end of day. We will pivot to this strategy immediately. Submit the finalized report by noon. Strip the padding out of your vocabulary entirely. The padding is a defense mechanism to protect you from the recipient's potential annoyance. The padding tells the recipient that you are afraid of their reaction. What happens when you decide to stop being the likable pushover and start building structural authority? The system will violently resist you. Human beings are biologically wired to test changing hierarchies. People who have grown accustomed to the bead curtain will walk headfirst into the oak door, and they will be genuinely angry. They will accuse you of changing. They will say you have become difficult to work with. They will gossip that you are unapproachable. This is the transition phase. This is the exact moment most people break. They experience the social friction. The biological alarm bells ring in their head, screaming that they are being cast out of the tribe, and they immediately revert to appeasement. They send the apology text. They soften the mandate. And in doing so, they prove that their new boundaries were just a bluff. They teach the system that if it complains loud enough, the leader will cave. If you want leverage, you have to survive the transition phase without blinking. You have to redefine what a successful interaction looks like. A successful interaction is no longer one where everyone leaves smiling. A successful interaction is one where the objective was met, the standard was upheld, and the boundary was respected. The friction is not a sign of failure. The friction is the sound of the system working. When you set a deadline and someone misses it, the subsequent uncomfortable conversation is not a flaw in your leadership. It is the execution of your leadership. This introduces the concept of strategic warmth. Authority does not mean you act like a sociopath. It means your warmth is conditional and deliberate, not a default state of appeasement. When a leader who is generally stoic and demanding offers a genuine compliment, it hits with the force of a thunderbolt. It has immense value because it is scarce. When the likable leader offers a compliment, it is meaningless because they hand out praise like cheap candy. Scarcity creates value. If your approval is guaranteed, regardless of performance, your approval is completely worthless. You have to train your people on how to consume your time. When you leave your door wide open all day, you are telling the organization that their minor conveniences are more important than your deep work. You become a dumping ground for problems. They are too lazy to solve themselves. Close the door. Make them schedule the time. Make them send an agenda before the meeting. The friction of the process forces them to filter their own issues. Half the problems will solve themselves because the effort required to bring them to you is too high. You are not being mean. You are engineering a system of some. Authority is built on the willingness to be the bad guy in the narrative of a mediocre employee. You cannot optimize for universally positive feedback. You have to optimize for operational effectiveness. Every time you bend a rule to be nice, you create a microscopic crack in the foundation of your leverage. Over time, those cracks connect. The foundation shatters, and you find yourself managing a team that fundamentally does not care what you have to say. Stop trying to deposit coins into a bank that does not exist. The affection of your subordinates will not save you when the quarterly numbers miss the mark. The warmth of your team will not execute a flawless product launch. Only structure, predictability, and unbreakable boundaries will do that. You trade likability for respect. You trade accommodation for leverage. You shut the bead curtain. You build the oak door, and you let them knock.